Good Golf program featuring Al Goodman's orchestra, the Revelers, and Will Rogers.
Good evening, everybody. The makers of that Good Gulf gasoline and motor oils have appointed me Toastmaster of this regular Sunday evening get-together. In their behalf, I'd like to invite you all to a new kind of banquet. A banquet given for countless thousands of motorists in every part of the country. Every Sunday night at this time, please consider yourselves the guests of the 40,000 Gulf dealers. They welcome you to an unusual and satisfying feast. Not of food, which you can get at any banquet, but of the music of Al Goodman's orchestra, the singing of the Revelers, and a few words from Will Rogers. Now we come to the feature of our Sunday night Good Gulf banquet. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present Will Rogers.
I figured out it's peculiar. It's a peculiar state of affairs that exists. And everybody that is doing better than there was 3 or 4 years ago or making more money has got in for the present. But they don't seem to realize they're doing better on the money that he's spending. You see what I mean? Doing better on his money. Now, we all know that the government is spending all this money, and it's not a good state of affairs to exist. The country is in bad shape when there ain't nobody spending any money but the government. But now, what you going to do about it? Of course, one remedy would be for the people that have money for them to start spending it instead of the government. But that seems just about as unpopular as the Roosevelt idea. In fact, it's worse. Well, if we sit out and pass the bill tomorrow and said the government can't keep on spending this money. But for government to exist, somebody has got to spend money. So from this day on, from this day and date, the government's going to stop spending money and make it compulsory that the people do the spending. Boy, what a howl would go up from that, you know. They couldn't make that law stick. People would say, no, we saved it, and we have worked and we've made it, and we've got the right to do as we please with it. So that little idea is out. People ain't going to spend. That's out. So what other idea we got? We got to keep on working with ideas here. Well, if the government is throwing this money away, the only thing I see for the ones that are throwing for the ones that they are throwing it to, outside of those that are absolutely in need of it, you know, well, the only thing I see is have them refuse it. You know what I mean? If you don't believe in what Roosevelt is doing with this money, why refuse it? If it comes, just say, no, it's government money and it's tainted, and I don't believe in the government. And I don't believe in the government spending all this money, and hence I don't take any part of it. And you say, no, you have paid this out. Now, for instance, take me, for instance. I'd say, no, the government paid this out for the people to eat, and here they are coming to see my pictures with it. I don't agree with that at all, you know. Now, you can imagine me saying that, you know what I mean, but if I was that, it would be the way to look at it, you know. I ought to refuse to accept the money. It's government money. I don't believe in the government spending this money, so I'm not going to take it. Here's a man that maybe wants to pay his loan at the bank. Well, maybe the RFC loaned him the money. You know, they're doing that a lot. And they get the money from the government, and they go to pay the bank. And the bank says, I don't believe in it. The bank, naturally, all the banks says, I don't believe in the government spending all this money. But when the man comes to pay his loan with government money, they don't say, no, I can't take it. I'll just carry you myself. Boy, what a laugh that was. Yeah. Now, of course, it's going to cost the taxpayers a lot of money to loan this fellow the money to pay off his loan to the bank. You know, it's going to do that, but nevertheless, they pick on that, but they don't refuse to take it. They ought to say, well, no, I ain't going to take it. I made the loan, and it was me that made it, and I should be the one to stand by. But you haven't heard that. I haven't done it. Well, anyhow, there's not a person in America that received a dollar, no matter where it come from, that received a single dollar, and no matter where it come from, It hasn't grabbed it, you know, without asking any questions about it or not. It might have been paid out for relief for a starving child, but if it reached us, we was the starving child. It doesn't make any difference. But so the only thing I see for the fella that don't believe in all this spending is to not participate in receiving any of it. I can't very well legitimately criticize a fellow for spending money if I receive some of it without any criticism in the receipt of it, you know. I mean, if I don't believe it so, I'll at least make a little attempt to say it ain't right when I grab off some of it. So this $5 billion that they're starting in to spend, we all know that that's too much money. It's too much money to take out and throw away or give away or whatever to do with it. We know that. We all know that. But until we refuse to take some of it and it comes our way, we ain't got much right to holler. Now, that brings us down to taxes. You know what I mean? That brings us down to taxes. And, boy, when you bring us down to pet coon, you know, it brings us down that. This money coming from all the government is thrown away. Well, it just sort of looks like it might come. Where is it coming from? Everybody says, where's the money coming from we're spending? Well, I don't know, but just offhand, I'd say it's coming from those that have got it, you know. Now, I don't know. That may be just a rough idea of mine. I don't know. But I kind of believe that's where it's coming from. There's one good thing about the American form of government. The fella that's got nothing, he don't pay nothing, you know. And, too, lots of times the fella, he has got something, but, and he ain't got any money to pay, you know, to pay. He's got some, but he ain't got nothing to pay with, pay taxes with. But he can at least let him have the property back and get an even break anyhow, you know. But the big yell comes nowadays from the taxpayers, the big taxpayers. I bet you when the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth Rock and they had the whole of the American continent, you know, to themselves, you know, just them and them Pilgrims there, they landed up there, and all they had to do to get an extra 160 acres was shoot another Indian, you know. Well, I bet you anything, they kicked on the price of ammunition, you know. Right, like we're doing now. What's this coming to? It's coming to that we have to spend a nickel for powder. Of course, we got to pay it back after the effect of the Indians. Well, no matter. I don't know. It don't matter what we pay. I don't care whether we pay high taxes, low taxes, medium taxes, or no anything. The yell is always the same, 100%. You know what I mean? We just yell 100%. Of course, we know our government is costing us more than it's worth, but do you know of any other cheaper government that's running around now? I mean, do you? I mean, if you do, I mean, they'll sell you a ticket there any time. Now, you can try Russia. I was over there. Yeah, you can try Russia. There's no income tax in Russia. But there's no income. Hitler ain't got no sales tax, you know what I mean? But he ain't selling anything. Oh, that's fine. Mussolini, you don't have to pay a poll tax to vote in Italy, you know, but nobody votes. So, now the whole question is, how can we make such a holler on what the government wants to collect back from us, you know? The thing is, you know, it looks like we can't have everything like we want to, you know. And but the whole question is the government, how much of this money which we are asked to pay back to them in taxes have they paid us? You know what I mean? You know, we must have got quite a little divvy of it, some way or another, indirectly. Admitting, as everybody does, that the government is the only one spending money, and if they're the only one spending anything, and anything we're getting must come from them. It looks like an endless chain to me, only when it reaches our length, while we don't want to cut any back into the kitty. I don't know what it's all about. This is just a kill time up here till something else comes out. I don't know any more about this thing than an economist does, and God knows he don't know anything. Everything nowadays is just a mental talk. Now, but next week I'm going to present to you my scheme, you know. You see, every man nowadays has got a scheme to bring it out of the wilderness, you know. Well, not so much to bring us out of the wilderness as to bring himself out, I mean, you know. I've been studying the Townsend plan and the Long plan and the Coghlan plan and the Roosevelt plan. Hoover, he broke out with plan here the other day. I'm working. Maybe I'll do it next week. I don't know. I get around to it. I'm working on what's called the Rogers plan. You know what I mean? Rogers. Yes, sir, the Rogers. Yes, sir, the Rogers plan. Just about 3 more Welsh rabbits every night, and I'll be ready for the Rogers plan. I'm going to have it in shape, you know. Anyhow, don't do anything. Now, don't sign up with any of these other plans. Don't you boys sign up, because I believe I've got better offer for you than any of them. You know. And don't be too critical of the present plan. You know, if the Roosevelt plan is working for, for as long as we're all living on the loot, why, we can't holler about it, see? But remember now, about next week, I'm going to give you the Rogers plan. I'm just working on the 2 planks of it there now, and I ain't got it quite in shape. But I don't care what they offer you, I'll do better. You know what I mean? I'll do better. I'll do better. Oh, say, wait a minute. Wait, I got to tell you about the movie that started out. This is what it started out. Let me tell you about the movie. You know, they're figuring on watching legislation if we put certain tax on and say we're going to leave. One gentleman, Mr. Sam Golden, this morning says we're going to England. Where are you going? I'll tell you, I bet you we don't go nowhere. I bet you that we don't go east of Vermont Avenue. We're going to England. The movies is we're in an industry that kind of depends on the goodwill of the people, and they overlook the biggest thing in all this moving. You can't get much goodwill by dodging taxes, you know, because I don't care where you go, they'll bring you in there, you know, and say, you boys don't pay anything, you know. But those guys that says you don't pay nothing, they ain't there next year, you know what I mean? They're washed up and gone home somewhere, you know. They ain't going to go. But I don't know where we're going to go. If we go to New Jersey, I can see, here's a scene from New Jersey. You know, you folks on the radio maybe can't see this like my audience here. Here's Miss Greer. Here's an actress playing a scene. Oh, in front of the camera in New Jersey. I love you. Oh. Damn those mosquitoes. I love you. Now, say we go down south. They're talking a good deal about us going down in North and South Carolina. I've been down there a lot, and the influence of the people would have an effect on you. Now, if we go down in North and South Carolina, I can just see Greta Garbo coming before the street. You know what I mean? That's a mixing with all North and South Carolinians. And I love that dialect and all, and Greta Garbo says, yeah, I sure do love you, doggone, I sure. Yeah, sir. Sure do love you. I think I'll go home. I ain't gonna mess around here no longer. Oh, here, wait, I ain't through. I got a lot to do. Goodbye. Next Sunday night, look for the Rogers. Good night.
An excerpt of